Have humans made contact with aliens? According to retired Israeli officer and current professor Haim Eshed, the answer is yes, but this has been kept secret because humanity isn't ready. Speaking in an interview with Yediot Aharonot, Eshed, who served as the head of Israel's space program for nearly 30 years and is a 3-time recipient of the Israel Security Award, explained that Israel and the US have both been dealing with aliens for years. And this by no means refers to immigrants, with Eshed clarifying the existence of a Galactic Federation. The 87-year-old former head of the Defense Ministry's Space Division gave further descriptions about exactly what sort of agreements have been made between the aliens and the US, which ostensibly have been made because they wish to research and understand the fabric of the universe. This cooperation includes a secret underground base on Mars, where there are American and alien representatives. If true, this would coincide with US President Donald Trump's creation of the Space Force as the 5th branch of the US Armed Forces, though it is unclear how long this sort of relationship, if any, has been going on between the US and its reported extraterrestrial allies. But Eshed insists that Trump is aware of them and that he was on the verge of disclosing their existence. However, the Galactic Federation reportedly stopped him from doing so, saying they wished to prevent mass hysteria since they felt humanity needed to evolve and reach a stage where we will understand what space and spaceships are. As for why he's chosen to reveal this information now, Eshed explained that the timing was simply due to how much the academic landscape has changed and how respected he is in academia. Eshed provided more information in his newest book, The Universe Beyond the Horizon, Conversations with Professor Haim Eshed, along with other details such as how aliens have prevented nuclear apocalypses and when we can jump in and visit the men in black. Eshed's impeccable scientific credentials and intimate knowledge of classified space programs made his observations regarding a Galactic Federation monitoring life on Earth to be taken seriously and not easily dismissed. However, this approach raised several questions about whether such an extraterrestrial organization exists and is prepared to openly intervene in human life, as Eshed claimed. More importantly, what does Eshed's Galactic Federation have to do with previous claims by various researchers, insiders, and contactees dating back several decades regarding the activities of various interplanetary organizations that intervene in matters on Earth or that play a role in the genetic engineering of humanity? Join us as we further provide details of 5 interplanetary organizations that have been described by various insiders and also contacted that are relevant to any discussion regarding a Galactic Federation. But before delving into these mysterious organizations, note that 3 of them can be easily confused because their composition, functions, and activities can overlap, but they still have significant differences. It is simpler to recognize 2 more extraterrestrial groups, since they are frequently mentioned as rivals of the Galactic Federation. We will start by addressing some of the major concerns brought up by Professor Eshed's remarks regarding the existence and operations of a Galactic Federation by Dr. Courtney Brown, director of the Farsight Institute. Dr. Brown organized a team of 5 clairvoyants to gather information about the Galactic Federation in several sessions conducted and made public in February 2021. He explained his reasoning for the remote viewing session as follows. The term Galactic Federation of Worlds has been used to describe a collection of planetary civilizations that seem to support mankind and fight the influence of other organizations and species who look hostile to humanity in quite a few projects here at Farsight. So let's find out more about what these terms signify right now. What exactly is the Galactic Federation of Worlds? Or maybe who are they? Are they a single species or a group of species and civilizations, a sort of United Nations of the galaxy? Do they have dates? Are they working on projects together, like a project that might involve Earth and use humans? Are they a diverse group with different interests? Or are they all of the same mind. Crucially, amid a galaxy teeming with threatening forces, can the Galactic Federation of Worlds offer substantial assistance to humanity in its time of need? What resources does it command? And does it require active human involvement on Earth to extend its help? Or is it inherently potent enough to aid us irrespective of our actions? The outcomes of the remote viewing sessions have proven instrumental in unraveling the mysteries surrounding the Galactic Federation of Worlds and addressing Dr. Brown's inquiries. These sessions hone in on crucial aspects, such as deciphering the Federation's command structure, delving into internal political debates regarding the necessity of intervening in human affairs, unveiling the role of such intervention in a larger time war over Earth's future, and exploring how private individuals can contribute to supporting the Federation's endeavors to guide our planet towards positive evolution. As with previous remote viewing sessions conducted by the Farsight Institute, the sessions were conducted blind, and participants were only told to focus on 2 targets presented to them in sequential order. No details were given about each target so as not to preload the clairvoyants' personal opinions and biases into their observations. The 2 targets for the remote review sessions were as follows. Target 1, Galactic Federation of Worlds Headquarters, the most relevant meeting of the GFW, dealing with the subject of Earth and humanity. Target 2, the Galactic Federation of Worlds command ship currently in charge of Earth and its commander. Each of the clairvoyants' reports of the 2 targets was remarkably consistent in their general observations, even if the details varied from case to case. Regarding both targets, there were some notable observations, including the Galactic Federation of Worlds is a large and diverse body that holds many views on how humanity should be treated. There were members of the Galactic Federation of Worlds who were opposed to further intervention in the affairs of mankind. The enemy Galactic Federation of Worlds, represented by very powerful rival alien coalitions, had a significant influence on humanity and wouldn't be easily removed. There were significant armed conflicts between the Galactic Federation of Worlds and its rivals on Earth, and this war severely tested the Federation's military commander. If the Galactic Federation of Worlds ceased operations, significant planetary destruction would occur and Earth would fall into a post-apocalyptic nightmare. The Galactic Federation of Worlds leadership is aware that the rival alien alliances were militarily stronger in general, but the latter would have abandoned Earth operations if the Galactic Federation of Worlds had been determined to intervene. The opposing interplanetary forces the clairvoyants are referring to are the Draconian Reptilian Empire, aka Kiakar, and the Orion Alliance, aka the Collective. After evaluating the data provided by several clairvoyants, Dr. Brown offered the following conclusions and ideas about these competing extraterrestrial alliances vying for control of humanity. Regarding the Galactic Federation of Worlds, we aim to achieve a coherent synthesis. We, the people of Earth, need to realize as soon as possible that we are in a very precarious situation. The Galactic Federation of Worlds is making an effort to help us, but its resources are limited. They face forces that seem overwhelming even to them. It seems that they can help us, but they will still need our help to do so. There were 2 reasons. First, the members of the Galactic Federation of Worlds appear to be divided. Most members want to help us, but there are huge doubts within the organization about their actual ability to do so, particularly in terms of military resources. Earth is a relatively secluded planet in a peripheral part of the galaxy, which is a factor in our favor. It appears obvious that hostile cosmic powers might push the Galactic Federation of Worlds aside if they made a significant effort to prevent the organization from assisting mankind. Yet, are we worth such a significant effort? The Galactic Federation of Worlds concludes that at this point, neither side would be interested in a massive conflict over Earth. It is conceivable that the opposing forces will give up on the concept of a significant conflict if they would require extremely substantial military resources. The opposing galactic forces, the Draconian Empire and the Orion Alliance, hold a strong influence over humanity through their minions and assets controlled on Earth, which allows these alien alliances to manipulate humanity's destiny. William Bramley describes this succinctly in his book, Gods of Eden, which describes centuries of alien conflicts invented by controlled political elites to manipulate the evolution of humanity. Dr. Brown goes on to draw attention to the long-term involvement of the Galactic Federation of Worlds in life on Earth and its consequences. Many in the Galactic Federation of Worlds see humanity as the successful result of a project they began long ago evolutionarily. Probably one that resulted from a lot of genetic and cultural manipulation, as well as adaptation over many, many years. We are their children. They care about us and want to protect us. But what would any parent do if the child does not want help at some point? All parents have to give up allowing their children to choose their path. But if children openly acknowledge the challenges they face, and if those same children then turn to their parents for help, which parents wouldn't want to help their children? So that's the key. The biggest inhibiting factor facing the Galactic Federation of Worlds right now is internal discord. If they were strongly united and wanted to help humanity at this critical time against a very threatening and hostile set of aggressors, then they could do so with significant success. The revolutionary 1968 book Chariots of the Gods by Erich von Däniken introduced the hypothesis that one or more alien civilizations seeded or created mankind. Others followed him, like Zecharia Sitchin, the author of The 12th Planet, who focused a lot of emphasis on the aliens who, by prehistoric documents from Sumer and other places, genetically modified our forefathers. According to Dr. Brown's analysis, outlined through work with his team of clairvoyants, the Galactic Federation of Worlds has been involved in human history for a very long time and was part of the genetic seeding of humanity. But is there more than one group of friendly aliens looking to help humanity, some of whom are involved in long-term genetic engineering experiments? Some might consider this story science fiction. It is very hard to believe, but who knows in the end? In addition, it's worth note that our hunt for aliens has a potentially fatal flaw. We're the ones searching for them. That's a problem, because we're a unique species, and alien-seeking scientists are an even stranger and more specialized bunch. As a result, their all-too-human assumptions may get in the way of their alien listening endeavors. To get around this, the Breakthrough Listen Project, a $100 million initiative scouring the cosmos for signals of otherworldly beings as part of the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or SETI, is asking anthropologists to help unmask some of these biases. As Claire Webb, an anthropology and history of science student at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, said at the 235th meeting of the American Astronomical Society in Honolulu, "It's kind of a joke at Breakthrough Listen. They tell me, we're studying aliens and you're studying us." Since 2017, Webb has worked with Breakthrough Listen to examine how SETI researchers think about aliens, produce knowledge, and perhaps inadvertently place anthropocentric assumptions into their work. She sometimes describes her efforts as making the familiar strange. For instance, your life might seem perfectly ordinary, maybe involving being hunched over at a desk and shuttling electrons around between computers, until examined through an anthropological lens, which points out that this is not exactly a universal state of affairs. At the conference, Webb presented a poster looking at how Breakthrough Listen scientists use AI to sift through large data sets and try to uncover potential technosignatures or indicators of technology or tool use by alien organisms. According to Webb, researchers who use AI tend to disavow human handicraft in the machines they build. They attribute a lot of agency to those machines. I find that somewhat problematic, and at the worst, untrue. Any AI is trained by human beings, who present it with the types of signals they think an intelligent alien might produce. In doing so, they predispose their algorithms to certain biases. It can be incredibly difficult to recognize such thinking and overcome its limitations. Most SETI research assumes some level of commensurability, or the idea that beings on different worlds will understand the universe in the same way and be able to communicate about it with one another. For example, much of this research, presumes a type of technological commensurability in which aliens broadcast messages using the same radio telescopes we have built, and that we will be able to speak to them using a universal language of science and math. But how universal is our language of science? And how inevitable is our technological evolution? Do alien scientists gather in large buildings and present their work to one another via slides and lectures and posters? And what bearing do such human rituals have on the types of scientific knowledge researchers produce? It was almost like trying to take the perspective of a creature on another planet who might wonder about humanity and our odd modern-day practices. The assumptions and anxieties of alien hunters can creep in other ways. Because of the vast distances involved in sending a signal through space, many SETI researchers have imagined receiving a message from an older technological society. As astronomer and science popularizer Carl Sagan famously said in his 1980 book and television series Cosmos, that might mean extraterrestrial has lived through a technological adolescence and survived nuclear proliferation or an apocalyptic climate meltdown. But those statements are based on the specific anxieties of our era, namely nuclear war and climate change, and we can't automatically assume that the history of another species will unfold in the same way. Veteran SETI scientist Jill Tarter has told Webb that in some ways we are looking for a better version of ourselves, speculating that a message from the heavens will include blueprints for a device that can provide cheap energy and help alleviate poverty. The ideal of progress is embedded in such narratives, first of scientific and technological progress, but also an implicit assumption of moral advancement. In the words of Webb, it's the idea that as your technology develops, so does your sense of ethics and morality. And I think that's something that can be contested. Even our hunt for organisms like ourselves suggests a yearning for connectivity, reflective to me of a kind of postmodern loneliness and isolation in the universe. Webb joked that SETI researchers don't always understand the point of her anthropological and philosophical examinations, but they are open to being challenged in their ideas and knowing that they are not always seeing the whole picture. Ultimately, the point of this work is to get SETI researchers to push SETI to do novel kinds of searches. But if humans find extraterrestrials, could we ever visit their home? Face the truth. Even the nearest stars would take tens of thousands of years to reach using conventional spacecraft, such as the robotic probes being used now to explore the solar system. These spacecraft are driven by a combination of chemical rockets, low-thrust ion drives, and gravity-assisted trajectories, including so-called slingshot maneuvers around the sun or large planets that give them a big burst of speed. But if we're going to travel beyond our solar system, we're going to need something a little faster than that. Perhaps something like the giant Project Daedalus fusion rocket, shown here to scale with NASA's Saturn V rocket, in an illustration by graphical engineer and space artist Adrian Mann, whose work is featured in this countdown of futuristic space technologies. Here are 7 ways that robots, whose work is featured in this countdown of futuristic space technologies. Here are 7 ways that robots, or even human explorers, could visit the Proxima Centauri system or other cosmic neighborhoods. 1. Project Daedalus. Project Daedalus is a concept design for an interstellar probe, developed in the 1970s by a group of technical specialists for the British Interplanetary Society. The target destination was Barnard's Star, a red dwarf about 6 light-years away, in many ways similar to Proxima Centauri, where astronomers now report they have found signs of a potentially habitable planet. When Project Daedalus was conceived, some astronomers thought a gas giant planet might be in orbit around Barnard's star, but since then, no planets have been found in the star system. The result of the 5-year project was the design of the Daedalus spacecraft, a 2-stage, 54,000-ton nuclear rocket that would boost a 400-ton robotic probe to around 12% of the speed of light. This would enable the probe to make the 6-light-year journey to Barnard's star in around 50 years. The rockets of the Daedalus spacecraft would be powered by nuclear fusion, using electron beams to detonate a stream of pellets of fuel such as helium-3, which could be mined from the surface of the moon. Even so, the engines would consume tens of thousands of tons of fuel to get the spacecraft up to its top speed in about 4 years, and because there wouldn't be any fuel left to slow down, the end result of the 50-year journey would be just a 70-hour flyby of the destination system before the spacecraft speeds past into interstellar space. And according to space scientist Ian Crawford, a professor of planetary science and astrobiology at Birkbeck College in the United Kingdom, the Daedalus would be much too large to lift off from the Earth's surface, so it would have to be built in orbit, which means spacecraft like this couldn't be built without a capacity for construction in space that doesn't exist today. While Crawford thinks the science behind the Project Daedalus concept is better understood now than when the spacecraft was designed, he said the immense cost and enormous technical challenges likely mean it would be more than 100 years before something like the Daedalus sets out for the stars. 2. Project Icarus. The Project Daedalus concepts from the 1970s are the inspiration for Project Icarus, an ongoing joint project by the British Interplanetary Society and the Icarus Interstellar Organization, an international network of scientists, engineers, and enthusiasts who hope to develop the capabilities for interstellar spaceflight by the year 2100. Project Icarus is designed to reach any star within 22 light-years of Earth that has a potentially habitable exoplanet, meaning if a planet is confirmed around Proxima Centauri, it could become a target destination. Project Icarus aims to update the Daedalus design with new technologies and ideas. Among the refinements proposed are fusion rocket engines that use a different nuclear fuel, which would be detonated by lasers instead of electron beams, a technology that could draw from recent advances in laser ignition fusion at the National Ignition Facility at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. The Icarus probe could also be smaller than the 400-ton probe envisioned for Project Daedalus, thanks to advances in electronic miniaturization and robotics and future nanotechnologies, which would mean the spacecraft would need to carry less fuel to reach its full speed. 3. Light sail. According to Crawford, our best bet for interstellar travel may be to not use a rocket at all. Light sails, which use the pressure of light to propel a payload, are already being considered for interplanetary space probes, and in 2010, Japan's experimental Icaros spacecraft successfully used its 60-foot-wide light sail to maneuver during a 6-month journey to Venus. But although light sails driven by sunlight are already an effective way to explore the solar system, they are not fast enough to cover interstellar distances in a reasonable amount of time. Crawford said the answer may be to use powerful lasers to push the light sail to very high speeds with bursts of light at the start of the journey until the spacecraft is too far from the laser source to gain more thrust from the light beam. Since the driving lasers would be built on Earth or in orbit, interstellar light sail spacecraft would not need to carry fuel for the journey, and so the mass of the spacecraft could be kept small. Laser-driven light sail spacecraft are the basis of the Breakthrough Starshot project that was announced this year by investor Yuri Milner and physicist Stephen Hawking. The project aims to build a working prototype by 2036 at a final mission cost of around $10 billion. The project envisages a swarm of around 1,000 stamp-size Starship spacecraft, each weighing a few grams and attached to a light sail measuring 13 feet across, which would be deployed from a mothership in orbit before being accelerated by ground-based lasers to speeds of around 15 to 20% the speed of light. This would allow the spacecraft to make the 4-light-year journey to the Alpha Centauri system, a triple star system that includes the star Proxima Centauri and its possible planet, in between 20 and 30 years. The concepts behind the Breakthrough Starshot project have been studied by Philip Lubin, a professor of cosmology at the University of California, Santa Barbara, who says the biggest challenge remaining is to create sufficiently powerful lasers to drive the light sail spacecraft. 4. Bussard Ramjet. The Bussard Ramjet concept, proposed by physicist Robert Bussard in 1960, combines the high thrust of fusion rockets with the low fuel requirements of light sails. Instead of carrying its own fuel, a Bussard ramjet would scoop up the very thin traces of gas and dust found in interstellar space, known as the interstellar medium, using a vast funnel-shaped electromagnetic field that extends for thousands of miles in front of the spacecraft. Hydrogen from the interstellar medium would then be compressed and used as fuel in a fusion rocket at the rear of the spacecraft that drives it forward. In theory, a spacecraft driven by a Bussard ramjet could continue to accelerate as long as there is enough interstellar gas in its path to provide enough thrust, and could reach a high fraction of the speed of light. As a result, the venerable Bussard has seen long and honorable service in many works of science fiction. Notably, Larry Niven's Known Space series of novels and short stories, including the Ringworld books, and the 1970 Poul Anderson novel, Tau Zero, in which an interstellar crew push their stricken Bussard spacecraft to relativistic speeds to avoid destruction. Unfortunately, the interstellar medium around our solar system and the nearby stars is especially thin, and scientists have calculated that there's just not enough hydrogen there to fuel a Bussard ramjet. But several ideas have been proposed to get around this limitation, including a concept known as a RAM-augmented stellar rocket, which uses collected matter as reaction mass to drive the spacecraft forward, using energy beamed to it by a laser, and an interstellar runway, which would use deposits of fuel positioned in advance in the path of an accelerating Bussard spacecraft. 5. Antimatter rocket and black hole drive. Beyond light sails, giant lasers, and fusion rockets, a few even more exotic options for interstellar travel have been proposed, such as rockets powered by the extremely violent and supremely efficient annihilation reaction of matter and antimatter. Another proposal for using exotic physics to drive a spacecraft is the Schwarzschild-Kugelblitz drive, which would use a microscopic, artificial black hole contained within its engines as its power source. One idea for a ship equipped with the so-called SK drive, shown above, would trap Hawking radiation from the rapid and extremely violent decay of the tiny black hole and convert it to energy that can be used to propel the spacecraft. Each of the artificial black holes would only survive for a few years, so new black holes would need to be created on demand, possibly by compressing pellets of matter with gamma-ray lasers. According to a 2009 research paper, an SK drive starship powered by a microscopic black hole with the mass of a modern supertanker could accelerate to 10% of the speed of light within 20 days. The black hole would last around 3.5 years before it decayed entirely, and would output more than 160 petawatts, or 160 quadrillion watts, of power in its lifetime. 6. Faster than light? Wherever astronomers look in the universe, the theory of relativity holds fast. As Albert Einstein showed, it's not possible to accelerate a mass to the speed of light in space, nor past it. But Einstein's equations may yet hold a few tricks that could someday let science do an end run around the known laws of physics and achieve faster than light travel, a holy grail for generations of science fiction fans. The best-known scientific concept for faster-than-light travel is the Alcubierre drive, proposed by theoretical physicist Miguel Alcubierre in 1994. The proposed drive operates by using intense gravitational forces generated by two rotating rings of dense exotic matter to shrink the physical dimensions of space in front of the spacecraft while expanding the space behind it at a rate that could appear to exceed the speed of light. In Alcubierre's proposal, which requires a type of exotic matter for the rings that is not known to exist, the spacecraft inside the warp bubble created by the drive would never travel faster than light in its local space, and so would not violate the laws of relativity. Other speculative ideas for faster-than-light travel include using trans-dimensional wormholes, also theoretically possible, but not known to exist, to travel between entangled but distant regions of space, or to daringly skim the edges of a large, spinning black hole, as depicted in Christopher Nolan's 2014 movie Interstellar. But Crawford notes that the concept of faster-than-light travel is rife with unknowns and apparent contradictions, such as violating the principle of causality, in which events are caused by other events that happened earlier in time and not the other way around. So, it's likely the proposals would prove impossible, even if they were technologically feasible to attempt. That's all the information that we have for you today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss out on future episodes. And be sure to also tell us what you think about today's content. Everyone's support motivates us to continue delivering quality content and to always improve. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.